Welcome to the show. Start by looking at the COVID cases as usual, every day. In Nueces County, we're at 34,534 cases plus 130. 642 deaths plus 2 deaths. That brings total now to 209. We're now and 8 deaths. That makes when there are 8 deaths. That makes it to 642 hospitalized. Recovered 31,040. And the numbers are real, not fake. These numbers were provided by your county health district. And they're the ones that brought up the numbers. So they're real, not fake. So again, what you can do to protect yourself, again, you need to wear a mask. Don't listen to those anti-maskers. Don't listen to those anti-mask protests. Like what happened in I mean, this story happened weeks ago. And this happened a couple days ago. And this happened in Fresno, California, and in Canada. Just 4 days ago. Because these people decide they not want to wear a mask. And I've got to tell you, you need to start wearing a mask for safety and protection. I mean, how would you feel if I don't wear a mask every day? It's mandated by your county judge. Your county judge specifically states that, excuse me, you need to wear a mask every day from your county judge orders. And this story had happened in Canada. They've been laid against several people in an anti-mask held in Mactan on Sunday. Kodiak Regional RCMP arrested after 5 people who appeared on Mactan Provincial Court Monday by phone from police holding cells. 2 people were facing charges, Jonathan Roaster, 29, and Don Tinkles, 49. They faced charges of assaulting police officers and obstructing police officers. And they scheduled to appear in court again on February 22nd to enter a plea. After the judge outlined a ticket involving violation of the Providence's emergency order, there's no emergency. And they were issued tickets for violation of the Emergency Measures Act. David West of Riverview, Nicholas DeAngels, and Brittany Green of Bratwurst. The bail hearing will be scheduled for Thursday. That's tomorrow. So we'll know by then whether... And it's all over Wikipedia. The Anti-Mask League of San Francisco. What if it started happening in LA? because of those cases getting high. Those numbers are real. They're not fake, like I tell you. Those numbers are brought up from your county health district. And if you're going to call them fakers and say those are not real, then that's your opinion. But I believe in what the numbers say. I mean, of course, we have our constitutional. We all have our rights to exercise the First Amendment. Yes. But when it goes too far, it goes too far. Remember that. Because there will be times to where you're going to have to teach your children that it's not okay to go protest. And this will be one of those times when they get to the age of the teen years. I don't think it's right to be teaching people how to protest and bring your kids to that situation because they're too young to be teaching this kind of stuff. And these anti-maskers explain themselves like, if I'm gonna die, get COVID and die from it, then so be it. This was from August 7th from Vox.com. I mean, this article explains it all. I'm not gonna go through it. I mean, the government. I mean, people say, well, the government should not tell me to put the mask. I mean, and people always believe the rules. They inserted the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. No states are allowed to make laws that take our freedoms and liberties away. Well, just because you have to enact the 14th Amendment does not give you the right. I mean, but the question is, can the government legally force you to wear a mask? Yes, they can. And according to the county judge, they can. I mean, I haven't asked her, but can you still be banned from stores from not wearing masks? Absolutely, absolutely. The answer is no. Governments have the power to regulate in the name of safety. States also retain significant emergency powers to regulate public safety and health organizations through their own state and legal precedent dating back to early 1800s. So no, you don't have the right. You don't have the constitutional right to wear a mask. No one does. Remember that. Okay. We'll have more Give Me a Break when we come back. Stay with us. If you have a fitness goal of getting fit this year, don't you dare go to those gyms don't you dare go to those health gyms until you hear from my good friend, Paulo Salazar.
Consumers spent much of 2020 socially distancing, which left options to go to the gym or other workout classes limited unless they were online. The Better Business Bureau has some tips to help people avoid falling prey to overstated weight loss advertisements and scams. And joining us to tell us more about this is Katie Galan with the Better Business Bureau. Katie, thank you so much for joining us. As we kick off the new year, scammers are taking advantage of the fact that folks will be looking to get healthier for 2021.
Thank you for having me today. So yes, so of course, with the new year, there's always the way everybody wants to lose weight. Everybody wants to get into better health. I mean, it's reality. It's me. It's I'm sure a whole lot of other people who are watching. That's always one of our biggest goals for the new year.
Now, Katie, as many of us look to shed those extra pounds, supplements, they're big business. And many make a lot of claims, but you say beware of those promising more than they really do.
Only buy supplements from a place that is reputable. You know, do your research, go to bbb.org, check out their business profile, make sure that there aren't any complaints. What are their reviews? Things like that. Because now you're talking about things that you're ingesting, and that can get really scary if we don't know, if they're making imitation products.
And what types of complaints has the Better Business Bureau received in regards to promising you that quick fix?
All the complaints that we receive at BBB as far as gyms or subscriptions for supplements or pills and things like that is that people get locked into these contracts or these subscriptions that they can't get out of, that they didn't even know they were getting into in the first place.
And many times you can get locked into more than you thought you were buying, with future charges placed on your card. Katie, thank you so much for joining us. Great information. And to help keep you safe from any scams, always log on to the Better Business Bureau at bbb.org. Stay with us. We've got more news at noon coming up after this.
And thank you, Paul. So if you're getting scammed, just as Paul said, just as Kitty said, you need to look for those supplements and make sure there's no complaints. If there's no complaints, and it's okay. If they have complaints, then it's not okay. But don't you dare get scammed, because I ain't gonna be falling for that crap again. That's another story. And I'm sticking to that other story. And another scam you're talking about, this time the Ingleside Police Department. Oh boy.
Is
When will these scams ever stop?
the warning, though, from law enforcement: a scam artist is pretending to be them. The Ingleside Police Department is warning residents, don't fall for it.
Oh, just be careful
And I
with
agree
those
with
phone
Katya.
calls. If you don't recognize the number, don't answer it. Let them leave a voicemail.
And that's what they said. No word, though, on how long the scam has been going on. Police telling us that the scammers are calling residents and telling them that there is a warrant out for their arrest. Police say that is not their practice.
Don't fall for it.
We're not going to call you about a warrant.
Nope.
We're not going to ask you any of your personal information because we already have it. And we're not going to tell you to send us a credit card.
If you have any information on this scam, you are asked to call Ingleside Police at the number that you see on your screen.
So if you're falling for that scam, don't you dare fall for that scam. And I don't want to hear about it and do another topic about it, because Scam 2021 needs to stop. We need to start the new year right. Scam free. If you want to be scam free, we'll have lots of other topics for you how to be scam free 2021. And both the scammers need to be put in jail for life because of this. Alright, when we come back, more suspended from school news, from news articles, and you probably had this hard to believe. We're going to look at one of the articles from the suspended from school search that I did on YouTube about this person. I mean, we did one from, I think we did one from the cheerleader. I don't think we did it, but we might do it again. One from St. Michael's Elementary and Junior High School. And probably more. And this one for bringing beer to school. Plus, why should you never bring pornography to school when you return? Imagine if your school is doing. Imagine this. Your school says we're moving to remote learning, but you want to show up for class the next day, so you fight the good fight and say, I'm gonna go to my school because I want to go there every day and learn. I don't want to do the remote learning. Then imagine you're going there and they tell you you're being suspended for not following the protocols. Well, that's what one person did in Suffolk County. Here's the latest.
A high school student on Long Island. He most likely was going to face some disciplinary consequences, but he says he was willing to take the risk. 17-year-old Maverick Stowe lived up to his name today.
I was suspended for 5 days today for insubordination as a result of wanting to go to school.
The William Floyd High School senior was supposed to be a remote learner today, but he showed up at school because he believes that's the best place for him to be.
Principal said that I needed to leave, and I said, well, no, I think I need to go to class. This is during class time, and he's teaching.
Maverick made it to the rest of his classes, but at the end of the day, the school told him he was suspended.
My son is being suspended because he wants to be in school.
Maverick's mother and father support their son's desire to go to school 5 days a week, not on a hybrid schedule.
Kids need to be in school every day. Virtual learning is not learning.
He's a very smart kid. He knows what he's doing. And when he said this is how he wanted to handle things, we were like, then go for it.
The school district said in a statement to Eyewitness News that its hybrid schedule ensures social distancing mandates set forth by New York State, and that it's imperative students attend school in person only on their scheduled day.
The virus doesn't discriminate on Mondays or Tuesdays or Thursdays or Fridays. That's not how it works.
The district said students who refuse to adhere to their scheduled in-person days and or flagrantly disregard directives to leave school grounds and cause a disruptive environment for other students will face disciplinary actions.
I was going to school like students should be going to school, and I think that a 5-day suspension is out of line.
I asked Maverick the reaction his peers had to seeing him in school today, and he said most of them were supportive, although some did call him irresponsible, reckless, selfish. The William Floyd School District says it would want nothing more than to have all the students back in school 5 days a week, but they say it's just not possible at this time.
I would agree. You're not supposed to, if you're in a hybrid model and you're selected to do remote learning, you gotta do remote learning. You're not supposed to be going to school when you're on remote learning. It's not right.
Teacher. But it also says that it found to be an accurate representation if it's found to be.
Let's see if I can find another. I mean, there's plenty of students who have been suspended for taking pictures and all that kind of stuff. I mean, and students were when they were also suspended for recording a teacher, which was I think it was against the law. Which I don't think it was. I mean, they did the right thing. Reported to the teacher, showed evidence, and then it's like, sorry, you broke our rules, you're suspended. And there's an update now from after that story aired. This male text says, who painted his nails is no longer suspended. He's no longer under in-school suspension for wearing nail polish as he continues to advocate dress code policy change. I mean, because you cannot be asking them, you want that policy change, I want to paint my nails. But they understand that, but it's a distraction to the learning environment. And despite all this, I mean, the question remains, and now the question remains, Can public schools limit free speech? I mean, we did one article before where students were suspended for liking a Facebook post, and the parents are still banned from campus. They sued the school district. And now this is another case at Mananoy High School. This cheerleader was suspended for an explicit Snapchat. She was suspended from school. She was kicked off the team. We'll look at that when we return. The question is, can public schools limit free speech? We've done a story about this before, probably a topic like this before, where one school suspended a dozen students for just a Facebook post. They sued the school district. Matt Crone, the attorney who sued the school district, represented that lawsuit. That claimed that those students who liked those comments were then suspended. And that's not all. Before that, the parents were still banned from campus. They missed parent-teacher conferences, soccer games, all that stuff. But can public schools limit free speech? If you were to ask Google that question, they would give you a specific answer. A school can't restrict the message of your speech unless your speech falls into certain categories, as if to lewd or offensive causes substantial disruption or promotes drug use. And the U.S. Supreme Court said that students do not shed the constitutional rights to freedom of speech and expression at the schoolhouse gate. Many courts have held that school officials can restrict student speech that is lewd. And in this case, this was the case of the Monroe School District versus BL. And this is what it said. BL was frustrated. She had 9 events in cheerleading, was unhappy with her position on a private softball team, and was anxious about upcoming exams. So one Saturday, while hanging out with a friend at a local store,
cheerleading, was unhappy with her position on a private softball team, and was anxious about upcoming exams. So one Saturday, while hanging out with a friend at a local store, she decided to vent those frustrations. She took a photo of herself with a friend and their middle fingers raised and posted it to her Snapchat story. The snap was visible to about 250 friends, many of whom were Mahanoy students, and some of whom were cheerleaders, and it was accompanied by a puerile caption: F school, F softball, F cheer, F everything. To that post, BL then added a second: love how me and another student get told we need a year of JV before varsity, but that doesn't matter to anyone else. Well, one of BL's teammates showed the snap to her mother, who was one of the cheerleading coaches. BL was then removed from the JV squad for violating the team and school rules, including a requirement that student athletes conduct themselves appropriately. The Third Circuit Court of Appeals ruled for the student, saying the First Amendment does not allow public schools to punish students for speech outside school grounds, potentially setting the stage for the Supreme Court to resolve conflicting decisions arising from speech conflict in an internet era. That's this week's survey question. At SwerKonish.com, I'm asking, should public schools be able to punish students for speech outside school grounds? Well, joining me now is that student.
And if you were to Google that question, which I'm going to post on the poll, you could get another surprising reaction. And she was interviewed on CNN, but I'm not going to have time to and this is from the article. It's based on the conclusion that the 1969 Supreme Court ruling that the student expression may not be suppressed unless school officials have a reason to be responsible. We will material is supposed to disrupt the work and discipline at school. It should be on campus, not off campus. I mean, look at the post. I mean, look at the two posts. In this case, this guy said the F word on Twitter, and then he was expelled. He was a senior, but he was expelled. That's all of his edition of Give Me a Break Wednesday. We'll see you again for Give Me a Break Friday. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.